Hello, welcome to Popalong RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing. And last year I made it my mission to race the Tamiya Lunchbox. Here at Popalong RC we race all sorts of cars, from on-road to off-road, indoor, outdoor, electric, nitro. We'll race pretty much anything. But last year I decided I wanted to race the Lunchbox, and we ran a few events over at Mill End where I got to race the Lunchbox. I also, though, got to run it at the Christmas event at my local indoor club, and it didn't quite go to plan. So let's just remind us what happened to the Lunchbox.
Oh my days. It's a whole... Oh! I think your wheels... Hang on.
I think my car's been broken.
It has, look. Keep going. Oh. There's an issue. There's a real issue with this car. The rear axle seems to be falling off. But that won't stop. That will not stop, Carl. We're good to go.
So as you can see, the Lunchbox was broken. I have since taken it out once, and unfortunately I was unable to properly fix the rear end of this car. So therefore I started looking at what sort of hop-ups and things I could do. And many of the viewers said, why don't I try a UK Monster chassis conversion for this car? And I looked at it and I thought, is that in keeping with the essence of what is a Lunchbox? And how much of the Lunchbox will remain after fitting one of these? Now, if you have a look on their website, they've got lots of different option parts, and you don't have to go full Monty. You could just get bits. If you've seen the build video of this, you'll see that I've already upgraded a few parts. I've got the Fast Tracks anodized blue elements to it, but I decided actually I've got another race scheduled in for the Lunchbox, so it's time to get it fixed and get it back on the road. So let's take a little look at what's in the box. So before we get into the box, it's important that I actually get inside the Lunchbox as it is. So as you can see here, it's got the tub chassis, and all my electrics sort of go inside the tub chassis. I've already upgraded with the oil-filled shocks, and obviously there's a few anodized blue bits on this car. But it is still very much a Lunchbox, very simple in its design and its layout. So this front end at the moment, where I've got all the anodized blue, I'm tempted to keep a lot of that. However, I might need to go back to the plastic. I don't know how it fits with the conversion, but we'll have a little go. But since putting on the oil-filled shocks, I did notice it became a little bit more stable. In order to sort of use the upgraded parts, I do need to start taking this car apart, removing the servo, because that will get transferred straight into the other car. Obviously this bottom plate I'm taking off, because the rear axle goes straight into the new chassis, so that bit definitely needs to come across. So that's all taken out, and then that is what is left of the chassis. So the Pro Carbon Fiber Pro chassis, really like this this manual. Obviously it says here about what you need to actually do the conversion, and obviously you need the oil-filled shocks, which I've just taken off of my current truck. And then let's start building this up. So the instructions are really clear, really nicely done. And all the parts are put into separate bags, which makes it really easy to work through. What's quite nice about this is the drawings seem to be pretty much to scale, and then you just sort of go step by step. What I like about this design actually is that you can change the shell height depending on where you put the screw. Another little change you can make with the servo on the sort of set configuration, it goes in horizontally, but you can change it and put it in vertically, which would change how it goes, but I'm going to stick with the horizontal one, and that kind of starting to take some shape now. Initially you just push these together and they go into the slots, and then you can just screw it in afterwards, and then obviously you add these support bars, screwing them in. Anything where it's metal, I am choosing to use a little bit of Loctite just to hold it all in place. I might be cursing that at a later date, but it's going together really, really nicely, and the quality of this product is top drawer. So now it's really starting to take shape. I need to start adding the actual elements of the car. So as you can see here, the rear end has now gone into place, and this is the part that was broken on the previous car, but there is an extra little brace that you can get, and that extra little brace is here. You can actually buy this brace separately, and if you want to just get that brace, you'd then need to make some holes in the plastic chassis to fit it, but I've got the metal one, so I'm going to be applying it directly onto there. Really nicely engineered, looks really good. So that's now in situ, and as you can see, it just holds the rear axle in place for me. I've decided that I want to keep this blue bit at the front. Hopefully it's all going to work out, and I'm just kind of working my way through. I'm now going to be adding in the front arms, which again, they come in a separate set, so this is another optional extra, but there's lots of parts that you need to take off of the plastic arms. Unfortunately, I already had the alley one, so I've pulled the alley parts across rather than using the plastic. Hopefully that's not going to impede on the movements, and I'm hoping that it all goes together quite nicely. This, again, steps are really, really clear. So I've put all these in, and I've tried to screw this plate into the chassis, but unfortunately there is a slight issue in that the screws were slightly too long, and as you can see, there's a raised part on this chassis, so I had to drill it out in order to get the screws to drop down. And then I've kind of added the arms, so it might be that I need to go for a hunt around the garage for the plastic components and refit the plastic configuration, just to make it a little bit smoother in the way that it moves. Into the car room, and electrics have now been installed, it's been tested, and the car is ready for action. What I've done is I've placed all the electrics over to one side to try and counter the weight of the motor being on the other side as well. But there it is. Having a look, it does look really cool. I'm really, really happy with this. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs on the track. Anyway, back to the studio. UK Monster Lunchbox. Now, I do think with the setup that it's got, I might need to redo the shocks, because I put quite thick oil in these when I first did them, and now there's hardly any play. That is super sturdy, and it's going to stop all that sort of ridiculous bounciness that you have with the original shocks. This now, it kind of, yeah, I think it's just set up a little bit too hard, but I will be testing that out on the track very soon. But let me have a quick look. Where's that supposed to be? There you go. So obviously we have got our Scotch egg van shell, which was a gift from the guys over at Mill End, and again, hopefully I'll be racing this at Mill End very soon in their outdoor series. But the first race I've got with this car is going to be the Good Friday event over at Bedford, and I'm really looking forward to getting this car on the track and having a play. So if you've got yourself a Lunchbox or a Midnight Pumpkin, any sort of Tamiya big wheel car, do pop along to Bedford on Good Friday and get yourself racing. I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs. It looks the part. It is a fantastic product in terms of the quality. Really happy with it. As I say, I just need to sort out the shocks. I think they're a little bit too stiff for my liking, and I might just put some thinner oil in, or some softer springs. But there it is. Any issues with the build? Well, the only issue I really had, as I said, during the process was me choosing to keep this blue part on here and having to drill some holes in it in order to get these screws to drop down. It's worth noting, actually, the other reason why I chose to do the front upgrade is because you've actually got these linkages in here which allow you to set the camber of the wheels, so it is an extra element which should help it with its performance. But enough waffle, let's get this car on the track and go have a play.